Welcome to One with Him, where I am one with the Creator and one with myself. So today I'm going to pause reading because I want to share this past week with you. Some things that was going on that I walked through and just think it's worth sharing. So anyway, last Sunday was Father's Day, also Juneteenth for those of us in the States, and Monday was my father's birthday. And, I was looking forward to celebrating that, even though I'm not in the same state as he is. But he turned 83 on Monday, so I was excited about, celebrating another year of life for him. He's got a couple of health challenges that he's working through right now, but I am just grateful that he's still here on this side of the dirt. So, you know, I also had Monday off because of the Juneteenth holiday falling on Sunday. We as state employees got Monday off as the day to observe or in memorial of that day. So we got the day off, and I wanted to read that day. I wanted to get into the book that I had started with you, and I wanted to get into the second chapter. That chapter is about 54, 55 pages long. So I wasn't going to try to read the whole chapter, but I wanted to read, at least get that chapter started, get it recorded so that I could get it uploaded, so forth and so on. And that day, it just wasn't working out to do that. So I wasn't sweating, and I'm like, okay, I got the day off. I'm going to chill and enjoy the day. Normally, we wouldn't have this day except for our governor making it a state holiday for us. So wanted to just chill. I got out in the garden for a little while and got some things done and just, enjoyed the day off. Well, the pros of having a day off is that you have that time to chill, get some things done that you wouldn't have time to do normally if you had to work that day. The con to that is when you go back to work the next day, you're crunching 5 days worth of work into 4 days. So that was the week. And so on Tuesday, it was also the summer solstice, the official beginning of summer. And I was looking forward to that because, as we're learning and opening up and waking up and coming into understanding the times and the seasons and all that, and really incorporating that into our conscious process, I was looking forward to that day. And there was this tension that I started feeling. And it actually started at work. I supervise a team of 4 people. And I recently came into this position of supervisor in April. And what's unique about this is before I received that promotion, I was actually part of this team. And so I went from being a team member to the supervisor of the team. Now, when that announcement came out at first, everybody was excited about it. They thought, okay, there's one of us who know what we're going through that is going to be over us. So they thought it would be a piece of cake. I would move up into the position, blah, 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 blah. And so in coming into this position, because I was also a team member, I knew the people who I worked with. And now I'm going to supervise. And one of those people in this group happens to be a male. I have no problem with that. I've supervised men before. I've worked with men before, supervised them, so it's not a big deal to me. But I also understand that not all men are okay with women supervising them. So long story short, this male who's on the team was excited about me becoming the supervisor, thinking that, that same mindset. He'd be able to do what he wanted to do. I'd be okay with that and let him have his way. And anyway, we're going through that growth process, and the honeymoon is coming to an end. We're just going to put it like that. The honeymoon is coming to an end. So on Tuesday, as part of my supervisory role, giving some direction, giving some clarification, giving, I'll say it like this. My mother taught us that if you're going to do something, do it right. And if you're not going to do it right, don't do it at all. And so I have that same mindset as a worker, and as a supervisor, I have that same mindset for those who are under me. Not micromanaging, not beating, browbeating anybody, but gently and respectfully, we're going to get on the same page of doing our work, doing it well, doing it efficiently, and doing it correctly. That's it. So, anyway, this person was starting to have, I think it was starting to rub him the wrong way. Um, and so there was a little tension that had come about because of that. Now, I woke up that morning, that Tuesday morning, so summer solstice. I was looking forward to enjoying the day, the first day of summer, the solstice itself, and there's some nuances about the solstice that I hadn't um, understood at that point. And I believe this tension was helping me to move toward more of an understanding of what that day is, and I'll get into that in a minute. But I think this tension that I was going through this week brought about that realization at the culmination of the week. So, generally, when I see that I'm getting pushback, when I'm trying to help move you and push you and help you get to the next level of your greatness, your uh, um, um, excellence, not everybody receives that well. And that is what started to play out. And so when I see that, when I try to push or try to encourage or try to help you be your best self and there's resistance, at some point I I stop. I stop the push. I back off because one, I recognize you either aren't ready for it or you just don't want that and you're okay with status quo. I recognize that as part of my team, that's not going to be the end result, but I also understand that okay, if I need to push back, if I need to step back and allow this process to go a little slower, we're still going to get to that finish line. But if I need to help you process it because you need a little more time adjusting to that, I'm gonna help you in that adjustment. So I back off and I shut down. Not shut down because I'm not doing my work, but I just shut down and I allow that person to have that time to process. So in the midst of that, a couple days go by where the person's not in the office and there's that space time. So yesterday, person's back in the office and I think he realized how he came off, but not giving an apology, not saying, blah, 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 blah. None of that. So I'm still being reserved, getting the job done, helping them get the job done. And there came an opportunity where the other team member was in my office and, uh, she was asking questions and I was giving answers, giving some feedback, blah, 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 and he had to jump into the conversation. I think that was his way of trying to segue back into what he would have felt as good standing. I don't know. But anyway, he made mention about why don't you bring in? Because I had brought in some snacks for our last team meeting, and he's like, why don't you bring in this certain kind of snack? I'm like, okay, what brand do you like? And he, mentioned a couple of brands, and I said, well, wait a minute, you still owe me a pizza because of some things that I was helping him out when I was one of his team members, pitched in to help him out because he was had a backlog of his work. And I said, wait a minute, you still owe me a pizza. He's like, okay, what kind of pizza do you want? So I said the name brand, I said the type, and he said, okay, no problem. So they were going out into the field to do a visit, and while they were out, I get a phone call from them saying, okay, what do you want on your pizza? I told the ingredients that I wanted, and they came back with the pizza and they brought one for themselves. So we kind of had like lunch together in the break room. And he had shared a couple days before the tension broke out that, he was going to probably need to ask for a few days off because he was expecting a grandchild. I'm like, oh, okay, congratulations. So I brought up the subject of the grandchild. I said, when's the child supposed to be born? And he was saying they were actually inducing the mom that day. And I said, oh, is this, the daughter or the child of your son or child of your daughter? And he says, child of his son. I said, do you know what sex? He said, yeah, it's going to be a girl. And he happened to mention that she is going to be the first girl in their family line because they have a family full of boys. And I unknowingly, and I believe it was intentional. And I began to say to him, I began to speak into him. And before that even happened, the day before, within my I'll just say spirit, within my spirit, a word that had been said to me back in 2014, a word of prophecy that was spoken over me back in 2014. It came back to me. I hadn't thought about this because, like I said, I'm walking away from this mess. I don't want anything to do with it. Blah blah blah. But a word that had been spoken over me back in 2014 came back to me, back to my memory, out of the blue, and the word was, the person that was speaking over me was basically saying to me that I would be over men, but men don't get me. Meaning, I would be over men, helping them, encouraging them, pushing them forward, but not everybody's going to take it okay, or they're not going to get it right away because of the fact that I'm a woman. So I got that, and it came back to me. That was part of this tension that was going on. When he said that yesterday while we were eating our pizza, it was like a light bulb came on inside of me, and I started to speak over him. And I was saying it jokingly, but when I started talking to him and speaking this stuff over him, he started to laugh because I think, one, he couldn't believe that I was saying it, but also because he knew what I was saying was the truth. And here's what I said to him. He said, yeah, she's going to be the first girl in their family line because they have a family line full of men. And I said, when you look in this girl's eyes, this little one's eyes, I said, she is going to melt your heart. And I asked, where they live because they don't live in our state. And he told me the state where they live in, so he's going to have to travel. And I said, when you look into this little one's eyes, she is going to melt your heart. And when you get back here, you're going to come back and you're going to say to us, I am so sorry for the way I treated you. I am so sorry. Whatever you need, I'm going to be there for you. And I started speaking and I just started rambling, and he started laughing so hard. He almost spit out his food because, one, he couldn't believe I was saying it. And two, he knew that what I was saying was right. So it's just a matter of that manifesting and coming into fruition. But I spoke that over him, and we were laughing about it. I was laughing because I was, and I said it in his kind of tone of voice, because so he knew exactly what I was saying. He knew exactly what I was saying, and the tone that I was saying it in, it was almost like he felt that deep within his core. So, I got a kind of kick out of it because that tension that had been built up that week had dissipated. So, I thought it was the end of it. We had a good lunch. We got through that. He went on about his day to get in the field. I went on about my day to do my work that I needed to do. And last night, when I went to bed, and I was exhausted last night because, again, it was a short week and we had a lot to do in these 4 days. We did 5 days worth of work in 4 days. So I got home last night when I finally was able to settle down. It was almost 9 o'clock. And I went to bed and I put on a movie, and I think I watched maybe 10 minutes of that movie because I just started to fade out. I was done. But as I went to sleep last night, and I went deep sleep. Usually, I'll wake up in the middle of the night at some point, go use the bathroom, and then I'm up a little while before I'm able to go back to sleep. I got up, and that was not my testimony last night. I was deep. And in my sleeping time, I had a dream, and I don't even want to call this a dream. I was in a realm of sleep where I saw myself in the midst of the Anunnaki, and I knew that's who they were. Now, I'm not going to go into the description of what they look like. I just knew that's who they were, and I knew that I was in their midst. And it was interesting to me as I was in their presence. It was like I knew I was in the presence of the gods, but I didn't call them gods. I didn't worship them or reverence them as gods. I knew I was in the presence of gods, of the gods. And I also knew that's where I belonged, if that makes sense. I knew I was in the presence of gods, but I didn't bow down to them. I didn't worship them. I didn't reverence them. But I knew that I was supposed to be there, and that I belonged there. That's the way I think I need to say it. I knew that I belonged there. And it was almost like it was more so. I'm trying to word it. It was more so that it wasn't so much that I knew I was in the presence of gods, it's that it was almost like they knew that they were in the presence of a God. Not that I'm calling myself a God, but hear what I'm saying. When I say I'm one with the Creator and I'm one with myself, in that vein, standing in the midst of them, I believe they recognized who they were in the midst of. And then I woke up. And so I turned on my phone and I went onto YouTube and I went to see, because usually when I wake up, I would try to find something conscious related that I could listen to and then zone back off to sleep. And I listened to one of the people I subscribe to. I think her channel is called Inception Podcast, and she was interviewing someone who was talking about consciousness and crystals. And so I was just listening to it again, just to help me zone back out and go back to sleep. And the things that she was saying described almost to a T what this week, the culmination of this week was. And the word that she used was portal. Now, had heard the word portal before, blah, 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 especially in the Pentecostal charismatic uh, realm. They use portal all the time. And even coming into consciousness, there's a lot of talk about portal. And so those words can be so overused that you really lose the true essence of what the word means. But when she said that word, it was like, again, like the light clicked on for me. And as I listened to her and the dream came back and the experience from this week came back, it all made sense. So when I got up, I said, one, I got to share this. And the title that I was going to use and still will use for this is called Pay Attention, because I think that's what this week was all about. Me paying attention. I was looking forward to my father's birthday, turning 83. I was looking forward to the summer solstice, experiencing that with the knowledge that I have right now. And things were happening that I wasn't expecting. I was, if it were the winter solstice and these things were happening, I think I would have gotten it quicker, because, winter represents things that are going dormant, things that are dying, things, and that transition. And I wasn't expecting that kind of transition coming into summer, because we're in the spring, things are awakening, we've planted our seeds, we're going to see the fruit of our labor. That's what I was getting excited about. And this tension that was happening, wasn't giving me the sense of fruit, of manifestation. It just wasn't. But as the week went on, and as I maneuvered myself through the week and got through the week, that's exactly what I was going through. And so when I got up out of the bed and I looked up the word portal, first of all, I wanted to see the synonyms. What words are like the word portal that would give you the sense of portal? Here they are: doorway, gateway, entrance, exit, way in, and way out. And when I looked for the actual definition of the word, here's what it is. You ready? Access. Everything that I had gone through this week, stepping into and through the the summer solstice, stepping into that portal, gave me access. Access to what? This tension that I didn't expect to feel and go through with this solstice, was actually the gateway, the entrance that I needed to get to what I saw and experienced. And even in the depths of my sleeping, being in the midst of the Anunnaki, or me being in their midst, That had to play out so I can see that. So what I'm saying to you, I shared all that to say to you and to encourage you. Pay attention to the signs that you are going through. Pay attention to the reality that you are facing right now. Pay attention. And I'll say this, even in the midst of that, there were some things that I had to complete in work that I wasn't quite understanding and being new in the position, but I had to work through that. I got through. There were two things I had to work through that I got through this week, and going through that portal gave me access and understanding on how to get it done. And each time I did what was necessary to complete that task, I felt like that weight was released. That's what the portal was giving me. That doorway was giving me access to complete it. That doorway, that gateway, that entrance in, that way in was allowing me access to get what needed to be done, to get it completed, to walk through that process. So when I have to do that again, no longer will it be foreign. I may have to tweak what on how I complete it, but knowing that it's possible to get it done makes all the difference in the world. So for you, pay attention to whatever signs, whatever clues, whatever breadcrumbs are being presented to you, because you need to see that you have been given access. The door has been opened, the gate has swung open wide for you to walk through and to have it complete. Whatever that is for you, whatever you need to see, whatever you need to experience, whatever has to take place for you to get to the other side. And I'll say this, before I got out of bed yesterday morning, the word I spoke over myself was, I have the victory. And then all those things unfolded. I had to speak that because I didn't want to get out of bed. I was tired. I was exhausted. But I spoke that. Whether it happened yesterday or if it were to happen in the weeks to come or in the months to come, I was already putting that in the atmosphere into my realm that I was going to have the victory. And that very day, it manifested. Now, there's still more to come. There's still plenty more to come. Don't think that's the end of the story. I know it's not. That's just the beginning because I have walked through that portal. That gate opened up. I walked through it. Access was granted and I took advantage of it. I didn't shrink back because it was difficult and hard and unexpected. I took it one step at a time and will continue to take it one step at a time. And you have to do the same thing. And however way you need to maneuver that when it comes your way, when you're in the midst of it, do what you need to do. Dig deep within yourself and get through it. So with that, I hope it encourages you. I hope it has encouraged you. I hope that if you're not going through it now, when and if that happens, that this will be a reminder for you that within yourself you will be reminded you're okay. Speak the victory over yourself and walk through it. Watch it play out and manifest, and you come out on the other side of it. So with that, have a great day. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Peace and blessings to you all.